know him from the point forward. He is, it's on Sports Illustrated, he is Zach Lowe, and that picture on the left is actually from his bachelor party. It's we had to do some digging to get a hold of that. Zach, how are you doing, man?
What's up, guys? And for the record, I am not married and thus have not hosted a bachelor party, though I have attended several.
Well, okay, so call him is what he's saying. So, listen, Zach, you are someone who probably amongst NBA writers and bloggers has the unique distinction of having some sort of background covering law and business as well. Has that helped you at all in this, in covering the CBA, or is the lack of information that you have kind of just hindering everything?
It's helped me a little bit in the sense that I think, like a lot of writers, before I went into covering complicated financial stuff, I knew next to nothing about it, and so was forced to learn through my old job how the markets worked, who these guys are, how the debt markets work, what high stakes litigation looks like, and what some of the products involved are, and just sort of the interaction amongst business units, that one or two people may control, and how they interact and how money moves around. I still, obviously don't have nearly the knowledge that someone who lives that life on a day-to-day basis does, but it's been more the knowledge background, and I did happen to get to know a few of the people who are either tangentially or semi-directly involved in the talks, because a lot of the lawyers and the business people are people that I got to know at my old job. So in that sense, it's been helpful. I don't think it's given me any sort of larger perspective on who's right or who's wrong, or how you can find a solution or anything like that. But just in terms of sort of finances 101 was the way it was most helpful for me.
Yeah, Harper and I were arguing about whether or not yesterday's meeting got us any closer to having a season. Any sense you have on that? To seeing positive? Can you give us a glimmer of hope?
I cannot give you a glimmer of hope. I mean, people are being very tight-lipped today about what went on yesterday. I mean, I do think that the general consensus of at least they're not yelling at each other, and at least they've made a vow not to, attack each other's numbers or sort of throw mud in the press is good. And I do think the more secretive they are about it, the better, the better the sign that they're talking about legitimate issues. But I think yesterday's meeting was essentially sort of a restart, a reboot of the process after a month of nothing, and just saying, okay, let's talk, let's have a civil discussion, see if we can keep it civil, and see if we can schedule more civil discussions, which to you and me just seems like it's the NBA. Come on, the season's going to start. What are you doing? Why are we still having meetings about having meetings? But that's where we are.
So you have the interesting distinction of being one of the only people I've seen who just does not care at all about summer pro-am basketball. Explain this position. Why don't you like fun?
I don't like fun. I generally am a very cranky person, both in terms of basketball and regular life. I enjoy documentaries about tragic events and things like that. No, it's not that I don't care. I mean, I watch the highlights, and I am interested in things like, wow, Kevin Durant has sort of a sick crossover dribble, and he was able to finish at the rim after blowing by LeBron James. I mean, like, in theory, that could have some sort of lasting import for the Thunder. And, but, I think you actually summed it up quite well in your first bullet point recapping the Goodman-Melo game, where you said, holy cow, is Josh Selby so fun to watch, and I'm absolutely convinced that he will have no role in the NBA next season, but wow, he can really dunk. And sort of that's my issue with the games, is that there's no coherent offensive or defensive strategy on either end. And there's probably one-on-one effort. I mean, I'm sure LeBron didn't like getting embarrassed, or Durant didn't like getting embarrassed. And I look, they're fun. I think they're fun. I think they're a nice a nice substitute for real basketball. But I'm a nerd and a cranky guy, and if you make me choose between Eurobasket and Goodman Mello, I'm choosing Eurobasket every time.
And what is it about Eurobasket in particular that gets you going? I mean, is it just kind of like a different flavor of something you already like? Is it, the team, the way that as a team, they really operate in a system? What gets you going on that?
Nothing in particular about it. I mean, the same thing that gets me going about the NBA, really. It's organized basketball with strategy and sets and defense. And I do like the Euro beards and the Euro hairdos. Anytime you get an Italian player who has to brush back his hair very gently, I find that entertaining. I through connections I don't want to get into. I have been to the former Yugoslavia many times and have sort of connections, family-esque connections there. So I root for the former Yugoslav republics in these tournaments. And I also like, I like watching NBA guys. I like watching like how Zaza Pachulia is like a seventh guy in the NBA, but is the star for Georgia. And, same with Joel Anthony and even, Danilo Gallinari has to take on a larger role for Italy. I like that sort of change in context. But, mostly I like it because it's basketball.
Yeah, so how do you feel about Don Draper playing for Croatia? How's he look? Did you see the game today?
I did not. I did not get a chance to see any of that game. I know that they lost by 2 to Macedonia, which is just I don't know what's going on with Croatia. I mean, Croatia struggled in their first game. They needed a huge game from Bogdanovic. I did see some of that game, so I did not see the game today, unfortunately. But I like to watch them play. They're good, but I don't know what's going on with them.
All right, well, I'm going to bring in someone who hates Europe and has the same name as you. His name is Zach Harper, and he's got some more questions for you. Thanks for coming on, man.